adjunct faculty for Indus Valley School of Arts and Architecture. Of course, how can I miss Zabist? He's a visiting faculty here at Zabist, teaching a lot of wonderful design courses and graphic courses over here, and I think people are really enjoying his courses. Now, Mr. Fazli Azeem, thank you so much for being on air with us right now. We just start off with a brief intro that we have here from you, which is that you have been associated with a number of things, including autism and a couple of other things that we have on board, including a lecture that you've been attending every now and then at UN as well.
There's been a lot of awareness because of the media, the film industry, and a lot of international movies are addressing the issue of learning disabilities. Now, I've been doing research regarding this. I've also attended the UNESCO Disability Conference in Qatar in 2008. I was invited on behalf of the country, and I've also represented conferences in Bangladesh and India. And the most important thing here is that, you see, these are an international problem, and we feel that they have an international solution. Countries and people are coming together, and the key word right now to understand and address is inclusive education. UNESCO, a part of the United Nations, has a large segment. It's called Inclusion International, an agency which basically helps different universities, schools, and even primary education in all countries for people to come together. It provides them training materials, it provides them guidelines, because what happens is when you mainstream everybody and have everybody on board, people with intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities, or other kind of disabilities, if all of these people come together, and even if you don't give them a degree perhaps, or they're able to contribute, they're able to perhaps get a diploma or a certificate and become a part of the system, they are included in the progression of the nation, of technology, of science. And this is something that's very close to my heart. I've been working in my spare time in this field, doing research, spreading awareness in Pakistan, across the world, and in South Asia.
Well, that is quite a bit of an achievement. To talk about your other aspect, which is technology, how do you get so technologically well-equipped and skilled? I mean, it's an amazing. I've taken a course with you myself, and I've seen you teaching this current batch, this is juniors, and you have your students all you're like the magnet in the class, and students all around you are simply focused on what you're trying to teach.
I think one of the main reasons that students get excited or happy when they do my course is because whenever you teach something, you should have a passion for it. I don't teach because I have to. I teach because I want to. And the most important thing here is, as far as technology goes, nothing is impossible. We read about so many successful people in the Western countries, people who passed on hundreds of years back. A lot of leaders, scientists, mathematicians, great people who achieve great things. If you study even a bit about them, about their autobiographies, how they lived their life, how they did things, you would be inspired, because you have to understand, if they can do it, then you can do it. Anything is possible. I would also like to attribute perhaps my success in some areas to having really good teachers. And these teachers, they inspired me to question everything, to plan ahead, to learn from everywhere. And that's the important thing. You should never stop learning. Everything is an experience.
Alright, so learning is the key according to Mr. Fazli Azeem. People, if you're just tuning us in, we are having an expert over here who's of course coming with a variety of experience in his back, including software, including graphics, including animation, including whatnot. I can name not all of them right now on the first link, but we'll give you bits and pieces of Mr. Fazli Azeem. Qazi is going to be live all the way from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and of course we are going to be focusing on discussion on autism disorder, and he is actually the expert on that. Now, moving on to something else that we have here is that you can text us in and be a part of the show right away. Go to your right message options, write ZabFm, give a little space, and send in whatever your thoughts are to 1313. You can ask questions from Mr. Fazli Azeem, who's going to be answering them. I hope you are, sir.
Yes, of course, I'll be delighted to.
So, just to begin with, because we talk about autism, and it's a big word with quite a bit of weight into it. Not a lot of people understand what autism is all about. I mean, what is it, by the way?
Yes, this is a very important question. You see, the definitions of this word has completely changed over recent times due to advances in technology and awareness all around the world. Around about 90 years ago, autism, when it was first discovered, or rather written down by Hans Asperger and Leo Kanner, two different doctors working in different countries at the same time, around 1910 or 1915, both of them describe a certain disorder which happens in children. It's a developmental disorder, and it's usually very visible around the age of 2 or 2.5. The child gets a fever, there's an epileptic seizure, the child may lose all communicative ability, the child may not talk, may have repetitive actions, the child may be repeating things, have obsessive interest, lack of eye contact. These words have actually been consolidated. Recent research has shown that this is a spectrum disorder. So the proper word to say now, is autistic spectrum of disorders, and that is actually what I've been working in quite a lot over the years. My point is that this autistic spectrum of disorders also contains the lower functioning, perhaps children who are not able to have speech or converse properly, and even those who are on the higher aspect, the ones who are extremely intelligent, called Asperger's syndrome. This is also part of the autistic spectrum of disorders. So this is a spectrum disorders. You have the very intelligent, extremely bright people, perhaps like Albert Einstein and even Michelangelo, Bill Gates. They've all been proven to have traits which are indicative of Asperger's syndrome, obsessive interests and very specialized forms of thinking, and they can hold on to memory and certain ideas of long periods of time and do research on their own. And also the children who are perhaps not able to communicate, not able to talk properly, the younger children perhaps between the age of 2 or till the age of 10, those who have repetitive movements, who are very hyperactive, who have speech issues. The reason why these things are important to understand right now, not just for Pakistan, not just for the student community, but all across the world, because these numbers are increasing. In the 1970s, research was done by the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in America. They found that the rate of a child having autism was 1 in 10,000. Now in 2008 and 2009, research was done again, and they found the rate of a child having autistic spectrum disorders is 1 in 150. Wow, that's a very huge jump. And now, just like 1 month ago, January 2010 or December 2009, the Autism Spectrum of America has officially released the statistics that every 100 children born in America, where there is a lot of research and testing going on, every 100 children, one of them will have autism. And in UK, in England right now, where they have even more research and testing and documentation going on, it's 1 in 78. Out of every 78 children born in the UK right now, all children from between the age of born to the age of 2.5, 1 out of every 78 will have an autistic spectrum disorder. Basically, some people are thinking, well, maybe it's just better awareness, maybe it's better training, maybe that's why the numbers are increasing, maybe it's the population jump, but there's a lot of things that are also happening. There was a whole vaccine scare, the MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps, rubella, maybe that was causing it, but things like those have been disproved. So now something else is going on. Scientists are continuing to work on this issue. It's growing. Now, why is it relevant for us as students, perhaps, or educators to know about this? Well, my point is, even in universities now, you have so many people who drop out, who basically join a university, maybe they do a year, maybe 2 years, and then they're not able to continue because they have some subjects which they're just not good at, and they don't know what's wrong. They just cannot do the subject. Maybe they are visual subjects, maybe they are mathematics subjects, maybe it's something about writing. So my point is, not just autism, but other learning disabilities are not being diagnosed. They're not being caught at the right time. Things like dyslexia, things like dyscalculia, things like ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. There's a whole list of them, and I see these day-to-day basis. I teach at universities, I teach at schools. I see this so much, it's undiagnosed, and right when the child, has to give an examination, that's when these problems start coming out. And the reason why awareness is important is, I believe that we must take action now. We cannot let another generation, go through the problems that we've gone through.
Exactly. Now, this is what is going to be on our show today. This gentleman over here is full of knowledge, and I am making sure that all of that knowledge that he carries with himself in terms of awareness is delivered to all my listeners out there. In case you can't tune us in on any other mode, you can always go to your computers or your desktops or whatever and tune us in on live streaming link, which is live.zabfm.org. You don't want to miss today's episode of the evening drive time show. It's going to be live all the way till 9 p.m. Now I'm going to move on with the first track of the day. In case you've just tuned in, we've got Mr. Fazli Azeem Qazi, the expert for autism